And now from oldiesmusic.com and Treasure Island Oldies, here's this week's rock and roll news. The son of Etta James says that his mother has been hospitalized in California for the past month and is battling a urinary tract infection that led to sepsis. She originally entered a dependency program to combat painkillers and over-the-counter medicines, but her condition worsened and she was hospitalized. Also, news, Susan Jacks from the Poppy family says on her Facebook page on the 26th of January that she will undergo a kidney transplant on the 17th of February. And the organ will come from her younger brother, Billy, whose name was immortalized in the 1970 hit by the Poppy family, Which Way You Going, Billy? The 2009 inductees into the Hit Parade Hall of Fame were announced this week. They are America, the Ames Brothers, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, Louis Armstrong, Frankie Avalon, Brooke Benton, the Buckinghams, Glenn Campbell, the Cordettes, Petula Clark, Sam Cooke, the Dave Clark Five, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Sammy Davis Jr., the Doors, the Drifters, Tommy Edwards, the Fifth Dimension, Eddie Fisher, Fleetwood Mac, Johnny Horton, Tennessee Ernie Ford, the Four Aces, the Four Lads, the Four Tops, Marvin Gaye. The list continues with Leslie Gore, Michael Jackson, the Jackson Five, Joni James, Sonny James, Billy Joel, George Jones, Kitty Kalin, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Andy Kim, Carole King, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Little Richard, Barry Manilow, Al Martino, the Mamas and Papas, the McGuire Sisters, Les Paul and Mary Ford, Peter Paul and Mary, Gene Pitney, the Platters, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, Helen Reddy, Marty Robbins, the Rolling Stones, Jimmy Rogers, Bobby Rydell, Del Shannon, Simon and Garfunkel, Joe Stafford, Barbra Streisand, The Temptations, Three Dog Night, Bobby V, Bobby Vinton, Dionne Warwick, and Andy Williams. The voting will soon begin on the 2010 class. Rolf Harris was awarded an honorary doctorate of letters during a winter graduation ceremony at Hope University in Liverpool, England on the 25th of January. They said it was in honor of me making art and music so accessible to the general public, said the teary-eyed 79-year-old, and that's exactly what I hope I've done for years, said Rolf Harris. In other rock and roll news this week, a 17-year-old Neil Young performed his very first professional date at a Winnipeg country club this week in 1963. Tommy Sands sang Teenage Crush in The Singing Idol, an episode of Kraft Television Theater, which led to the song becoming a big hit in 1957. Bobby Darin became the youngest person to headline a TV special of their own when Bobby Darin and Friends, which included Joni Summers, aired on television in 1961. Gladys Knight and the Pips left Motown Records and its soul label for Buddha Records this week in 1973. History was made in 1949 when RCA Victor released the very first 45 RPM records. There were 7 of them in various music categories and styles, including the original version of That's All Right Mama by Arthur Big Boy Crudup. The Beatles began their very first British tour in '63 this week, supporting Helen Shapiro. 2 members from the Robins broke away from the group and signed with Atlantic Records and became the Coasters this week in 1956. 5,000 fans greeted Bill Haley's train as he arrived in London, England for his very first British tour in 1957. The man who sings our closing theme every week on Treasure Island Oldies, Jesse Belvin, died in an auto accident in Hope, Arkansas this week in 19